It's your boy Tipsy Japan back with another episode of ATAS across time and space. How you doing, folks? How you doing?
I know what it is.
It's nice to be back. My goodness, it was quite the hiatus again. February came
and went.
Almost went.
It's almost gone. It's almost gone.
Almost gone. It's almost gone. We're still here. We're still here. And, if you're listening to this in March 2024 or March 2025, that voice will be there for you. Daddy loves you. We doing it, man. We doing it. Oh, my goodness. I'm so happy to be back. How you doing over there at Cross Culture? I'm here with the host with the most. Allow him to introduce himself. I said, how you doing? But how you doing? All right, go ahead.
I mean, things are going all right here over Cross Culture. Looking into doing some more stuff with see if I can wrap it out here. Shameless plug. Under Control Gaming.
There it is. All right, we back.
Throwing it out there. But some stuff went crazy during this past week. Just got to take it one day at a time. That's all we can do. One day at a time.
How crazy?
Not super crazy. No, just I ordered something. It came in. It wasn't what was supposed to be, so I have to return it. So that keeps the flow stagnant because of that. So trying to push out some content, trying to keep things going, keep things fresh, but something like that happens, and then where do we stand?
Yeah, well, I know how last time we were out here on episode 83, things were really getting popping with the, under control gaming.
Under Control, yeah.
Okay, with Under Control, folks are just like, yo, what's that? Where can I get one? Where are we supposed to redirect that audience? Tell them to what?
I'm on Mercari, and I haven't put the link on any of my socials yet because I just have the one controller. I'm trying to put a little bit more stuff before I really start blasting it out there, but I might just start blasting it out there because this one controller has been sitting here for too long. I need to get it out.
That's like the number one. That's the showcase piece. But yeah. I mean, if you got some Switch merch, I mean, folks.
Oh, that's coming. It's in the pipeline. Okay. In the pipeline. I'm gonna be doing pro controllers, definitely. Maybe Joy-Cons, but I really don't like working on them. I can tell you that right now.
What is it? Are they difficult?
Yes, so because small. Everything is so small. It's so fragile. The fact of Joy-Con drift, they do make Hall effect joysticks for the Joy-Cons, so you can always replace them with that. But getting down in there, it's hard to get into them. It's hard to get out of them.
Okay,
I'd rather not.
Yeah, the only time I want to touch a Joy-Con, open it up, is to fix it. And I don't really want to open it up to fix it. Right? Yeah. So if something's wrong, are you refurbishing, or are you fixing the Joy-Cons that are off and flipping them, or what? So that's double the trouble. Not double trouble, but it's, you get more for your money, more bang for the buck if you're going to open it.
So the thing is that with the Joy-Cons, I could probably do that double duty because to replace the sticks, you don't need any soldering. But for Xbox and PS5, you do need to solder the stick boxes in. And there are no Hall effect sensors that can replace the originals right now. There are controllers with Hall effect sensors for the Xbox. I don't know about the PS5.
Right.
But if your thing starts drifting, it's either that it needs a new board, so you have to take everything out, resolder, or flow and solder all of your points to make sure that there's no shorts, or you can replace the stick boxes, which still needs to be soldered.
And you got all that soldering iron and you don't know?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not there yet. There yet. But I've been looking into it. Okay, what's the barrier to entry? What's the cost of entry? What would I need to be able to provide that service? And I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah. I hear you. Oh, I mean, that's what's next for Under Control, and that's also the theme of today's show. Brought to you by Tipsy Japan and Cross Culture. Today.
Wait, hold on. What episode is this?
It's episode 85.
85.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let me hit them off real quick,
folks,
man.
what he was doing, all right, what he did just now for the folks who are listening on Spotify, like he did the hand gestures. We do like, these not gang symbols. What are they called?
Chill.
Ceiling signs. We do these ceiling signs.
No, not ceiling signs. Just the representation of numbers on our hands for each
we do
episode.
Representations.
I mean, we're not ceiling signs come at the end,
Yeah.
Nin.
All right, look, and that's what I do at the end, right? The whole show is one big sign. It's a summon. So what we're doing is episode 85, but this is called the epilogue. All right, it's an epilogue, and looking back at the last so many chapters, my goodness, of disrupting the game. Like what was the impact? What did you get out of it? So that, the folks that are listening and they can say, all right, the last 14, 15 episodes of ATAS, so these guys are just going in about this disrupting the game. Like, what could I get out of that if I go back and listen again? I want to talk about that journey. Where did you feel when you started, and at the end of the road, what'd you get out of it?
Well, for me, the whole book was basically confirming something that I heard a while back. Mm-hmm. It's when you're doing youth ministry. So, I'm big into youth ministry. I love youth ministry because that's where it seems the church is dying, with the youth. The youth are leaving the church and not coming back. They're getting butt hurt. Maybe somebody is intentionally hurting them. And they're just like, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to leave, or I can't live up to this impossible standard, whatever, what have you. But with youth ministry, what I was taught is that you can't just give the what. The what is for the grown folks. They'll say, okay, you know what? I can understand this. I can accept it. I can apply it to my life. But for the youth,
yes,
you have to give the what, and you have to give the so what. You have to help them with the application. So Reggie's going through this book and he's given his accounting of so many stories that shaped him. And he's not only saying like, hey, I'm a great person, this is what happened to me and I still came up and above it. He says, here's what you can learn from it. Here's what you can take from it. Here's what I learned from it. And hopefully going forward, you do the same.
That means a lot. That means a lot, especially for the younger folks. Their attention span is just so limited. And he wanted to make sure that the content was, approachable to anybody. So, every 10 minutes into the chapter, he says, so here's the so what.
So what?
Right. All right. That makes a lot of sense, right? And that's why I want to kind of take a piece of that and say, okay, so we just got finished reading this book. So what? All right. What do we get out of it? There were a lot of nuggets of wisdom there, but I'd say the most inspiring thing about it, if we can say this is an inspirational text, is that drive. Right? You could see the drive through the whole book. Like, this guy had drive, but where did it come from? I think that there's something to be said for not having this mentality, this kind of slave mentality. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there.
Slave mentality? Oh, it's Black History Month. Chill out.
I know. That's why it's important. That's why it's got to be said. I was listening to Mr. Monroe, Miles Monroe, about the slave mentality, where it's like there are people who are leaders. There are people who are leaders that even they have a slave mentality. It doesn't make any sense. What that means is that if you've been oppressed for just so long, and then you find yourself not oppressed anymore, you're still taking on the characteristics of those who oppressed you. Like, you're not operating like a leader. You're not operating on kingdom principles. You operating like somebody who just got some power and they're not trying to let anybody else do it. So you gonna listen to me, or I'm gonna tell you who's in charge here.
You're gonna learn today.
Exactly, like based on these artificial things rather than on good principles. If you operating as good principles, you may look like a pauper, but in fact, you're a king yourself, right?
I see.
That's the important thing, I think. For like Reggie Fils-Aimé, when he went through his whole story, he was always operating like a leader, operating somebody more aggressive. They can see more, they can do better, expecting better from the team. He always had that drive. And you look at his childhood, and he didn't start off in the States, right? He started off overseas. Our parents started off overseas, right? So they
one of mine, yeah.
Yeah, one of mine too. One of mine too, right? And there's something to be said for that, immigrating to another place and not acting like everybody else there. I had a conversation with my brother the other day. We were over at I was at the sushi restaurant, and he was like, and this is real. I'm gonna get real with you. He said,
"Okay, hit it.
When did you throw away your culture and embrace another culture?" I said, "Whoa,
chill out.
Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from?" Right? Because as you know, I'm TPC Japan, Tipsy Japan. I've been over here in Japan for who knows how long, right? First time here was 20 years ago, 21, right? And I ain't even seen 40 years yet, so it seems like it's like half my life almost. We getting there.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, have I been operating differently? Have you noticed a sincere change, like a sudden change, something that no, he was kind of always like that. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But what are your thoughts? You've seen me for your whole life.
Look, I'm gonna say one thing. There was a time where I spoke to you, and I think you were in Japan at the time, and you couldn't remember how to say things in English. Okay. You were struggling to speak English. That just comes with being engrossed in the culture. When you actually just say, "Hey, I'm gonna let go of my ties because I need to submerge myself in this culture to actually understand it." I mean, it's happened to me where you're learning another language and your brain kind of has a division. Like it's weird because you think fluency comes with, the ability to translate evenly through both languages. But sometimes your brain just has a break and you can't remember how to say things in the previous language, or you start to dream in another language. Those are ways that our body, our subconscious is telling us like, hey, we're switching gears. So I wouldn't say that you gave up the culture. Like, I mean, there's a whole thing there. I do it for the culture. We talked about that previously. It's not to say that you gave up the culture, but that you just embraced another one. And somebody just met me for the first time. One of my clients, did a phone interview, and I'd been working with them, and we finally met in person. And they were like, "Oh, I'm surprised that you're black."
I'm surprised you're black.
I'm surprised you're black because I'm not always like, yo, out here you got a code switch because you can do that with the homies from the hood, and I'm gonna say that because I grew up in the projects, roaches and rats. But I've had to elevate my speech to fit in with the boardroom. I can't come in, yo, yeah, we about to sling this and we about to do nah. You know what? This is our plan, and this is the intended outcome. If we don't meet the intended outcome, then we're gonna reformat and attack it again.
Code switching, right?
Yeah,
but the thing is, do you see it as code switching is one question, but and do you see that code switching is necessary? Is the second question. Do you see it as code switching? Do you see it as necessary? Is the second question. And to our listeners on the West Coast, because we got some folks over on IG and they signing in. Nah, man.
Okay.
But they talk a little different out there, right? They talk a little different. I heard
Just
on
a
the
little
phone,
bit.
it's like this young man speaks very well, right? I like it. I like it when people in our culture say this young man speaks very well. This man speaks very well, right? That's the good way of saying he sounds educated. He sounds intelligent, right? And somehow, for some way, when people, hear us sounding good, sometimes they say, "Oh, well, I'm surprised that you're an African American." No. In fact, it's our people that usually say that, isn't it? Yeah.
Usually,
you sound
usually.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Why are you trying to sound white?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what does that mean?
Just educated. That's it.
Exactly. This is what education sounds like. And, we're using books. Oh, wow, you have a podcast about books. I guess that does sound a little bit different from, what
the Breakfast Club.
Otherwise.
Let me stop.
Yeah, it sounds a little different from the Breakfast Club. Big ups to the Breakfast Club. That's one of my favorite.
For real. They go hard, but
yes, they do. They do. But yeah, I put that question out there not just for you, but for the IG crowd, because those boys do sound a little different out there. Here's one. Two, the next thing I did want to move on to, as we move on from disrupting the game, is to take a look at what have you been educating yourself with this year. We're going to look at not just books, but also podcasts. In the interim, have there been podcasts that have stoked your mind, or brought new ideas to you, new books to read, new autobiographies to get into, new people to be inspired by? And you look.
There's a little bit of everything there. There's a little bit of everything there, and that's the reason why I try not to listen to too many podcasts. My listening has gone down since starting the podcast, because I don't want to start carrying myself in the style of someone else. It's a little weird, because I see it all the time with preachers.
Okay.
They'll start listening to their favorite preacher over and over and over and over again, and then they start preaching like them, which, I mean, isn't a bad thing, but then you don't have your own style. So there's one podcast that I was extremely interested in. I don't think it's still going on, but it's called the Badventist podcast. Badventist. So it's talking about, Adventism, which is my religion, but people that are kind of like on the fringes, on the way out, or are having struggles in the church. So it's real. It's real stuff. Pardon me. But I also have stopped listening to it as much. So I mean, it started years ago, but I just started listening to it within the last year and a half, I think. So I haven't caught up to. So I don't know if they still doing it or if it has stopped. I didn't scroll down.
You started from the beginning though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. Some reading material comes out of that. Some bashing of some material. Well, not bashing, but it's like, hey, I don't understand why we're still doing this, or I don't understand, Books though. Coming across for books.
But hold on, we ain't hitting books. We ain't hitting books yet. I'm gonna do the podcast first. Because it's for the audience too. We got similar comments. Theologica Mystica is brought to us by NPH137 over there on the G on IG.
Okay.
Theologica Mystica. Have you heard of it?
Theologica Mystica. No, I mean, but it sounds like, if I had to break it down, Theologica Mystica is the study of maybe God and mysticism, or like the Mystica is what's kind of throwing me off. Theology I know, but Mystica is the different part.
It's not Mystica with a Y, it's Mystica with an I. Yeah.
Mystica with an I?
Yeah, I know. Right.
I really don't know now.
Discourses on the Treatise of Saint Dionysius.
That's a podcast or that's a book? That's a book.
That's downloadable, free download, right?
Oh, so that's
this is what our listeners are listening to. All right. Okay. So I just want to put that out there. Spread the love. All right.
Okay.
That's a big one for one of our listeners. I haven't heard of it yet, but hey, I'm always open to these new ideas, and
definitely,
just picking things up here. So that's one for sure. I got one of my big picks for this year has been the Andrew Huberman Lab podcast. It's Huberman Lab podcast, all neuroscience. It's on YouTube, but it's also a podcast that you can listen to. Andrew Huberman, right? He's a professor neuroscience over at Stanford University. Love his stuff. Why? Because I feel like I'm learning something. One, and two, it's very applicable. Like, all right, he starts off with the science behind these things, but then yes, he goes into the why. He goes into practical things that you can do to improve your life, and I love life hacks. So yeah, it's kind of an easy pick. He talks about depression, ADHD, creatine, protein, like bro science, but from a real scientist. So yeah, it's kind of nice.
I'm looking at his stuff right now, and he has just on the. So he has a landing page here for the podcast, and it says, subscribe from your favorite platform. You got YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and some others. And you scroll down a little bit, it has a search box, asks you what you're looking for. But then it actually has a bunch of subjects and how many items are in each subject. So you have ADHD, drive and motivation, 93 items, fitness and recovery, 142 items, heat exposure and cold exposure to optimize health, 51 items, light exposure and circadian rhythm, 65 items. I mean, and then there's 4 other items.
And those,
and then 20 plus more pocket topics.
That's hitting like every single one of those. Every single one of those is something that I've looked up over the course of the
sleep hygiene. Like, that's a serious one.
Sleep hygiene, I don't know. Maybe that's related to keeping your mouth open or closed while you're sleeping.
Oh no, I would think sleep hygiene is just proper sleep. How to get proper sleep.
Okay.
I'm gonna look into it right now.
No, well, I know this is for the listeners after the show, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I did learn for sure. You guys see, I'm chewing on something here. This is Kishitol gum. We're not sponsored by them. I'm just going to put them on screen for 1 second. Kishitol is
xylitol.
In Japanese, it's Kishitoru. So.
Oh, okay. Because it looked like it's XY.
It does start with X, yeah. XYLITOL. That's the name of a chemical, though, that if you have it in your mouth, the streptobacillus, the actual bacteria that causes tartar and plaque on your teeth, it's like our worst enemy, right? But this particular bacteria eats this kind of chemical, called kishitol, and it kills them. They love it, and it kills them.
Oh, dang! There's a whole lot right there.
There's a whole lot right there.
That's a whole lot.
So it's actually recommended by Japan's government as like personal hygiene recommendation. And it's available at the convenience stores out here. Kishitol. Oh, okay. Wait, I heard about that on Andrew Huberman, and it's right there in the store. That led to a purchasing decision. He didn't get anything out of it except for the satisfaction of knowing that he's helping mankind, and I appreciate that. That's one of the top podcasts for me right now, and it's like 2 hours every episode. Like, they go in, right? With interviews too. Interviews. That's what I really want to do. I want to do an interview, maybe at least once a month. Our first interview. You said what's next, right? One of the first interviews that we're gonna have in March. It would have been in February. I do apologize, but it's gonna have to be in March. It's gonna be over here. It's gonna be live. But we're gonna have somebody that's doing property management. Okay, property management, and just asking them questions, showing a few videos This is the type of work that can be done. Do it yourself, DIY. And just changing people's minds a little bit about that through education. That's what we're gonna do. We got at least one of those lined up for March. I'm putting it out there. But that's top podcast, and that's top one for me. Let me roll over into top books. All right, because we got the next book coming up. That's what we do over here on TPC Japan and on Cross Culture at ATAS. We like to read good books. So, what books have touched you in the interim? Yeah, audio books or physical books, any kind of book. Maybe the cover was amazing.
The cover, just the cover. That's like, oh yeah, that's a good book. I'm gonna leave it though. Summary.
Like, I really want to talk about that book. I want to look into that book. This is not just for you, but it's also for the IG crowd and for the YouTube crowd. For folks on Spotify, leave us a comment. Right, when you leave comments, please, like we can go back to those things and say, hey, you might either listen to it or read it, or you can have that conversation in the behind the scenes. Yeah, the behind the scenes. These things are moving forward, folks. I just want to let you know. But what's your top pick as far as books this year?
Books this year, one that I'm always going back to is Steps to Christ. It's just very practical. I mean, aside from the Bible, that's there.
Yeah.
But Steps to Christ, it really breaks down a lot of the different statutes and principles of Christianity, of Adventism specifically, but Christians of all shapes, sizes, and walks can gain a little something from this. And it's not to say that, we're doing it right, so we don't need the help. It literally, it will come and beam right down your block and hit you at home. It's like, hey, you thought that the church was supposed to be someplace for perfect people. No, it's a hospital. So the next time you start looking at somebody, make sure that you realize that there's disease there, that there's sickness there. The reason why they're in the church is to heal, not to be perfect. And we all need that healing because we're all sinful and fall short of the glory of God. It's not to say that one person is better than the other. We're all in the same basket. One other book.
We all got different diseases.
But different. Yeah. But we all the same. Yeah, we all got a disease.
We always ain't easy. Sometimes there's a diss there.
Yeah. One thing that has been making the rounds on social media is the Gen Z Bible.
Gen Z Bible.
And I'm considering purchasing it.
Is it on the U version?
I don't know if it's on U version. I didn't see it the last time I looked. But it's super new. It was published, I think, last year or this.
What all is a Gen Z Bible?
It's just the vernacular of Gen Z. It's in the Bible. So the principle and ideas are the same.
Yeah.
The vernacular is completely different. Do I have it here? No, it's downstairs.
Wow.
So I have what's called the Message Bible. Sorry, I'm fidgeting right now. Yeah. So the Message Bible is not, for me, it is not the best Bible to take to church because it is hard to find where a verse starts and a verse ends. It's hard to follow along. But for personal study, it's great because the language is so plain. The language is so plain. And some things the author really took, like, hey, I'm going to make sure I punch this point by comparing it to something that's a little more nowadays versus, cattle and this and that. So if the Message Bible was made for millennials, then the Gen Z Bible was, of course, made for Gen Z. So the vernacular of it changes. And I was on YouTube and this pastor was reading from the Gen Z Bible. And he's like, you know what? I find it intriguing. I did make sure that I read side by side and made sure it wasn't saying anything too crazy.
Yeah.
But it was the passage talking about Mary being chosen to have Jesus. And he's saying things like, okay, now Mary was being a full pick-me for Jesus, or not for Jesus, for God. And the Holy Spirit said, you shall have a child and he shall be him. You know, like things like that. So this generation who is, like I said, leaving the church in droves, it's like that might be something that latches onto them. Like the Action Bible, which is basically all comic book. And it's made by somebody who worked for DC and worked for Marvel. So he knows what he's doing. He made the Action Bible. Really good read if you want to get into that. I know that sometimes.
If I want to get into the Action
Bible. Oh, this what? Manga Messiah? Hold up. Oh, that's a different one. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's you got a crazy right there.
Yo, Jill.
Right.
That's crazy.
Adapted from the ancient text.
Adapted from the ancient text. Amen.
That's what it says at the bottom there. The little halo is just special.
From the ring light.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. I mean, that's an interesting one. Gen Z Bible. Folks in the comment section, have you read or seen the Gen Z Bible before?
Heard about it?
Do you swear by the Gen Z Bible now? Hey,
Chilla.
when you listen to this, maybe you already there. And we're long gone. I'm not from Generation Z, so but that doesn't mean I can't read it and enjoy it and learn something from it. Whatever Bible you decide to read, folks, pray first. Pray first.
Definitely.
Pray for wisdom, guidance, understanding. And get yourself a pen, a pad, and write down the name of this book, The 5 a.m. Club.
The 5 a.m. Club. You've been pushing that book offline.
I've been pushing.
You've been pushing that one.
I've been pushing it. Is my pick next? Because that one right there.
I mean, you picked what?
I did.
3 back to back. 3?
Disrupting the Game.
We've only done 3 books thus far.
It's not only been 3 books for 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. So you picked 3 books back to back. I picked 1.
No. What are the 3?
The Beautiful Struggle, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Homo Deus.
And then not Homo Deus. Homo Deus is the first one. Homo Sapiens, then Homo Deus.
No, you picked Homo Deus.
I didn't pick Homo Deus.
You did.
There's no way I picked Homo Deus. I didn't even heard about that book.
I have to. We can go back and listen. So I have to. This is great. The one I really want to read is Homo Deus, but I'll do Homo Sapiens first. That's what you said.
Oh yeah, because I mean we can't go to the second one without doing the first. Okay, so I guess if you want to say yeah.
So we started with The Beautiful Struggle, and then we went to Homo Sapiens, and then you got Homo Deus, and then
Disrupting the Game.
So you had the last 2 picks, and I had the first 2.
Okay. All right.
So I'll give it to you. I was thinking the 5 a.m. Club.
I was thinking the other book.
With the four elements or something? What was it?
No. I want to say it was called Ikari or Ikaragi. It was in that TikTok that I sent you, and you asked me, and I was like, I'm gonna tell him in person. But yeah, I thought that would be a nice little, because it's Japanese and
Okay.
But I also want to do a religious text next too. Not a religious text, but something a little more grounded in.
Well, the 5 a.m. Club. Some folks said that. Now, some folks on this side said it's a bit esoteric, but it seems very practical for me. And yeah, I need to process it. I need to process it and go back. So it's either that one or I'm gonna take a look at Ikagi, Takagi.
I can't remember. I
You
can't
gotta
remember
tell
exactly
folks the
what it's
name over there in cross culture next week. Let's just ask folks around a little bit. I'm gonna put an APB up there.
All points bulletin.
Right.
Look, the books that I wanted to do, they're not on Everand. And that was the issue that we're having. It's like, do we really want to tell them to go out and buy a book?
Go buy a book.
This one is
open up your
if you stay in Everand, then it's basically like buying a library card every month, because you pay $10, you get access to so much. And there should be a link in the description somewhere down
below,
so that you can give us, TPC. You can give TPC a month free, and you get a month free. Win-win.
In fact, was it 2 months?
I don't think so, but it could be. I would have to go back.
It might be
60 days.
If you listening right now, and you're like, you know what? I can get 2 months for free. Because if you don't use the reference link, I think you get 1 month already. But if you use mine, you get 2. If you stay, then I get 1. Right? But that first one, it's kind of like a one-off. Like, it's up to you. Somebody just signed up, as a matter of fact. I appreciate that. M-Dog.
Okay.
M-Dog. Yep. M-Dog 24. I'm not going to say which where the domain is, because that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But folks. Top podcasts, top books, top experiences. We got interviews coming up next month. Big things are happening. I got to talk about that behind the scenes. We got to wrap it up today. That's been episode 85. And you guys go ahead and get yourself a pen, a pad, write it down. It's been amazing. Love you guys. This is love, right? This is love. When you look back and listen to this episode, oh man, you're gonna be so happy. You're gonna be like, oh, that's him. That's Signature Pad.
It's the love. It's the love.
I'm happy. I'm a happy camper, and we're gonna talk about that behind the scenes. So right. Yeah, if you want to get your subscription popping, hey, just hit us up in the comment section and say, hey, what's going on with the subscription for the Patreon Patriots.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hit us up down there as well. We're heading towards 100, and we're gonna be picking up the speed. So.
Oh yeah.
Stay tuned. Head my face. Let them know, man.
You already know it's your boy Ace of Cross Culture, telling you desperate. Saying until next time, stay prayed up. Be blessed.
Ding. Ding.